I was walking on my terrace the other day. Nothing special, just sipping on a cup of tea, scrolling my phone and enjoying early summer wind. You know, those days where everything feels the same. Suddenly, I had a very strong feeling of deja vu. It was like I have lived this exact moment thousands of times and I am somehow stuck. Instinctively, I checked the time and date. It was March 2026 and I realized 6 long years have passed since the pandemic. I genuinely had to think about it for a moment. That really did not feel like 6 years. Hi, my name is Prabhahu and I stepped into my 30s last year. I work as a data engineer in an MNC. So yeah, same laptop, same desk, repeated tasks and the same routine every single day. And somewhere between all of that, I have been planning to start a YouTube channel. Not recently, but for a long time. Since COVID, every year I was like, okay, this is the year. I am going to start. My content ideas were ready. My setup was ready. I had plenty of gears. Even I had a very weird channel name selected as well. But I had one small problem. I never actually started. And it's a pretty big problem if you think about it. Because I never felt like I was wasting time. It felt productive. It always felt like I am preparing a little more. Just one more thing, then I will start. Just one more gear, then maybe the setup will be complete. But that one more thing actually never ends. So that day on my terrace, when I was staring at my watch, I realized something very simple. It's not like I didn't have time. I just didn't notice it passing. And that's the scary part, I think. Time doesn't feel fast when you are in it. There is no warning, no alert until it is past. So I was just standing and looking at my watch and actually thinking about time. And then suddenly a striking thought came in my mind. Maybe sometimes staring at time only can make you aware of it. Recently, I was going through this book, The Psychology of Money. Great book, by the way. I suggest everyone to go through this at least once. So in chapter 7 called The Freedom, there is one interesting line which grabbed my attention. It says money's greatest intrinsic value is its ability to give you control over your time. Now, I slightly disagree with this statement. It is true that money can give you abundance of time, but to gain actual control over it, you need awareness. And that awareness comes from observation. Most of our days run on autopilot. We do things out of habit, scrolling, delaying, switching tasks without even realizing how time is passing quickly. But the moment you start observing time, you break that autopilot. You begin to notice how long things actually take, how fast hours pass, and that small awareness creates a subtle shift. You start acting with intention. Maybe you finish a task before switching. Maybe you become a little bit more disciplined. Maybe you start respecting your time a little bit more. And well, how to do that? Just start wearing a wristwatch. Before wristwatches were even a thing, people used to carry pocket watches. And at that time, pocket watches were a big deal and a great status symbol. But there was a problem. Checking time on a pocket watch was a bit difficult. You had to take it out from your pocket, open the lid, and then you could check the time. This might sound not much of a big deal, but on a daily basis, it added a lot of friction. Now moving forward to World War II, soldiers needed a device which they could quickly take a glance at and check the time. And for that, they started strapping watches on their wrists, and that is how wristwatches are born. Now you might ask me, why not just use my phone to check time? Because it's more convenient, right? It's always in my hand. Well, here's the thing. You just don't check time on your phone. The moment you unlock it, there is a new notification, maybe a WhatsApp or Instagram. And even before you realize it, you are already hooked. What was supposed to be just a 2-second glance suddenly becomes a 15 minutes of mindless scroll. And that's the problem. We are slowly turning our phones into a one-stop solution for everything. Be it entertainment, studying, your camera, your alarm clock, Basically your entire life in one single device, and that constant stimulation of our phones is slowly messing up with our brain. So sometimes it's better to actually separate things once again. To wake up, use a simple alarm clock. This is the one I use and it's pretty decent. If you love photography, then get a dedicated camera for that. And something as basic as checking time, well, grab a wristwatch. Now comes the most interesting part. Which watch to wear? Well, you can either go for a smartwatch or a traditional watch, that is totally up to you. Both have their unique sets of advantages and disadvantages. If you are willing to track your steps, your workout, or you want to pick up a call without reaching for your phone, then of course go for a smartwatch. But make sure you buy an actual smartwatch and not any fitness tracker or fitness band that shows time. I have a Samsung watch that I got from Flipkart for around 10,000 rupees, which does the job well. But keep in mind, you have to charge it at least once a day, just like your phone. But as I mentioned, right, we should avoid any kind of friction while checking time and make it as effortless as possible. That is why I somewhere prefer regular traditional watches more than smartwatches. For a traditional watch, you can go for any watch you want. Make sure it fits your wrist, it is not bulky, it looks good and has a great battery life. As I am new to this watch game, I have recently bought this Casio 1200WH, which does this job pretty well. According to me, this is a must buy if your budget is below 3000 rupees. It has a great battery life and I have adjusted the strap to fit my wrist. Now, before ending this video, I thought of sharing a very personal observation. Wearing a watch changes how people see you and also how you observe yourself. It adds a certain presence to your personality. You look a little more put together. Not because the watch is expensive, but because it signals that you are paying attention, that you value your time and you are aware. And that alone puts you ahead of most of the people, because most of us aren't really paying any attention.